Jonesy, who's your most annoying teammate? Who would you say out of this crew would... No.
Out of this crew?
Yes.
Oh, nah, I love Harmsy. Track. That's a common one. Nah. Yeah, I would have to be Harmsy, I reckon.
You batted up for a few tough press conferences over your career with losses, but this is pretty amazing for all your teammates and, on a run and about to play a massive game.
Yeah, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest. I appreciate everyone being here. I think that just shows, there's been a lot spoken about over the last couple of weeks about the connection the group has and I think even the connection the club has, and it's, I'm certainly feeling it personally today, and I feel very honoured to have everyone here, and I'm bloody excited about this week. When I wanted to play on last year, I had a good chat to Goody, and it wasn't about reaching this milestone. It was more so about being able to play in a successful team and contribute as much as I could on field and off field to getting the group into a position that we find ourselves in now. And I don't know how long it's been, but in the time I've been here, I hadn't even won 3 in a row, and we've won 5 in a row at the start of the season. So I'm looking forward to Saturday night.
What was the discussion like last year about playing on? Was it always strong, or was it a time where you thought maybe not?
No, look, the club was honest with me up front, said that they wanted me to stick around, but the decision was in my hands. And to be honest, I had to have a think. I've had an injury interrupted couple of years, and I had to just think. Can I get my head around? Playing again was one thing, but can I physically hold up to it and get myself back in a position to be able to play? And I spent a pretty long summer after having a couple of discussions with Goody back in October, getting myself right. And to be honest, I went into the pre-season and season with little to no expectations to even play a game. So I was just going to do as much as I could physically and for my sort of personal preparation, but then offer as much as I could to the group to help us continue to improve.
How's it feel, Nathan, that you're going to be able to celebrate the milestone? You're not limping to the line, you're playing good footy, but also the team is on such a high as well. The combination of those two facets plus the celebration of the 300.
Yeah, I'm just. I have to sort of pinch myself that I'm in this position, really. If you had have asked me back in September last year, I wouldn't have known, where I would have been. Potentially, I may have retired, really. But I put in a lot of work behind the scenes, and I've had so many amazing people support me. From a personal point of view, particularly in the last 12 months, and then obviously the connection and the work that this group's done together over the summer. That's just a reflection. For me, it's a reflection of 3 or 4 years of hard work. We're starting to sort of reap the rewards of that now, and as I said before, I'm really excited. Not only for this week, I feel very honoured to be in this position and be a part of. I spoke to Nita earlier this morning. One of 2 players to have reached the milestone, but ultimately, I'm here for bigger and more important things. I want to see this group continue to grow and get better, and I feel like we're sort of only scratching the surface of where we could potentially go, and ultimately that's why I'm playing. I feel honoured to be playing 300 games, and I'll probably appreciate the milestone when I do eventually finish, but at the moment I'm trying to keep it as low key as possible and just keep riding this roller coaster of wins that we've got going on.
Do you dare to dream, Nathan, about where you could potentially go? I mean, do you see blokes like Shane Fulford back in the day that ended their career on such a high?
Yeah, absolutely. I've probably been dreaming of that my whole career, really. A lot of people say, why do you stick around through difficult times? That dream was the thing that probably kept me alive, really. It kept driving me towards wanting to stick around. And we got a taste of it back in 18. And I've been pretty bullish about it most years, but in particular leading into this season, I felt like if we got a few things right over summer, the club was really honest with itself, both from a coaching point of view and a playing point of view, and I think we just put the work in, and here we are. And there's still a long way to go. It's only early in the season, but there's a lot of good vibes going on, and we just want to keep trying to grab hold of that.
How much better is this side state compared to the 18 version?
Yeah, I'm not as I've never got as excited as everyone else about 18. Really, I feel like we just sort of got on a run late in the season. Ultimately, I think the core of the group's pretty similar. What you see now is the reflection of a group that's now more mature. It understands what it takes. Back in 18, we were being heavily criticised midway through the season that we hadn't really beaten anyone, and I think it was a run of 6 or 8 games that got us into finals and then winning finals. But this year's different. This group, there's a real maturity about it, and it understands what it takes, and I think it has really learnt to respect the game.
Does it feel like a more sort of, I guess, well-rounded group than 2018?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the moment we speak a lot about guys playing their role and understanding how that fits in. And we've got 22 contributors every week, but then we've also got a VFL side with a handful of guys there that are contributing as well. And there's pressure for selection, and there's consistency with form. And the longer we do that, that's what breeds a strong culture and a strong team.
How tough are those first 8 seasons? I think you had like 3 interim coaches at one point. Just to sum it up where things are at. Like, how seriously perhaps did you consider leaving?
I never really considered leaving. But yeah, those years sucked. When you get drafted, I was lucky to play finals in my first year, and I was thinking, how good's this? And then I think we finished second bottom the year after, and handful of wooden spoons after that, and not many wins. So, to be honest, I don't really reflect on it that much. I've got some good memories, and there were some good times mixed amongst that. A lot of good friendships and stuff. But as far as a footy point of view, it was sort of every time you get knocked down, how many times can you get back up kind of thing. And as I said before, the dream was always, can you imagine what it would be like if we turned it around? Imagine the Melbourne fans, imagine the team. That was sort of always ticking in the back of my head. And like I said, we got a taste for it in 18, and it's starting to feel like that again. With the first few rounds, and that's why I think it makes Saturday night so exciting. A big game against the reigning premier, and we're in good form, they're in good form, and makes for a good game, big crowd, and that's all this group wants to play in front of.
There's a chance it could be 100,000 if they up it this week. How do you do that?
Yeah, it'd be unreal. I read something about some new QR code or something they were going to do to maybe bolster back to 100%. So that'd be pretty amazing if they can pull that one off.
What's held you in good stead? To get to 300, not many people do it, and only the second, as you said, at this football club. What's made you a 300 game player?
Probably resilience, I would think, is the number one thing, and just the thing that makes me most proud and probably defines success for me right now is the fact that I just never really gave up. And yeah, that's probably it really.
Anything over the summer that you did differently with your body that allowed you to get to the line?
Yeah, a lot. I worked real closely with Burjo and Phil Merriman, who is now at Freo. Both those guys took me through a pretty stringent program, sort of October, November. Then obviously Phil left and went even more hands-on with Burjo. I pretty much hassled him every couple of days about what I should be doing, and then I just tried some different stuff, around nutrition and some activation stuff and mobility. So yeah, there's been a whole heap of things that I've just tried, and I needed to really. I think when you get to my point in my career and probably the successive seasons of injuries and stuff that I'd faced, something needed to change. What had got me that far wasn't going to get me any further, and I needed to make a shift.
We're going to see Dusty Petraka. Oh, sorry.
Down at Winky, you still getting down there?
No, I haven't surfed in ages, to be honest. That's another thing. I've sacked that for a while. The last time I surfed was at the wave pool in Tullamarine back in, February. So, it's probably not looking likely at this point unless we have a longer break. I just can't justify getting stiff sitting in the car.
We're going to see Dusty versus Petraka, and maybe at the stoppages even if they march forward at some stage.
I hope so. That's the big ticket to Saturday night, isn't it? And I think he'll relish that opportunity. I'm excited for him. I think it's a big game for them. It's his 250th, I'm pretty sure, and to see him and Track go head to head would be awesome.
The Track's ready for it.
Absolutely.
were some of the unsung names, I guess, that you've lent on over the years? Talk you through. Football-wise or home-wise or...
Inside the club, or?
Yeah, both, yeah.
Well, some of the guys from my early days I've always sort of kept in close contact with, like Nita, James McDonald, Cameron Bruce, Greeny Ooze. Those kind of guys, they sort of shaped my behaviours and experience early days at the club, and been lucky. I feel lucky enough to have played with them, because beyond those years then there's sort of an exodus of some of those older guys, and it was just a really uncomfortable time, I think. That first season I'd really, to have Danners as my coach, I don't take that for granted. I'm very grateful for that first probably 12 to 18 months of my career. And then there's just a whole handful of people along the way. I've had some coaches, obviously more than others, have had a greater impact. I really enjoyed Neil Craig's influence on my career. I had a pretty close relationship with Roosie, and then Goody as well. They're probably the three real mainstays, other than Danners. I think I've had 8 coaches across my career, including any of the guys that have stood in over that period. So.
Nathan, how important is your family here and everything? And personally, you've had a few challenges, but some really exciting times ahead for your family.
Yeah, we just came from a scan actually. So Jerry's 16 weeks with twins. And Bobby and Remy are here at the moment, obviously, and they're pretty excited about coming out on the ground. It's a bit of a drag trying to get Remy to get out of the house without a Spider-Man costume on, but he's got one in the car actually, so he may end up pulling it out at some point. But obviously other than the footy club, which is a huge love and been, for almost half my life I've been here, and Jerry's been on that journey with me the entire way. They're my number one. And I can't thank them enough for their support.